Welcome back, students. Today, let us understand why our judicial system is called independent judiciary. An important aspect of independence is the separation of powers. As you have seen in chapter 1, this is the key feature of the Constitution. It means that the other branches like legislature and executive cannot interfere in the work of the judiciary. The courts are neither under the government nor do they act on their behalf. And this is what we refer to as independent judiciary. They are completely independent. They will function without interference from the executive and the legislature. There is very little interference from other branches. Even the court judges, even the High Court and the Supreme Court judges, they are appointed without any interference from these other organs of the government. And once appointed to the office, it is also very difficult to remove a judge. Imagine if a political leader, powerful political leader, takes over our family land that belongs to our family. And if we approach the court and the politician has the power to appoint or dismiss a judge from his office, then do you think the judge can clearly give an impartial decision? No, of course the judge will clearly give a partial decision in favor of that politician. In this case, judges cannot take independent decisions when they are forced or they are under influence or they are favored by politicians. So the Constitution protects us against any such kind of situation, and by just providing this independence to the judiciary. Because it is because of the independent judiciary that allows our court to play an important role and to stop the misuse of power by the executive and the legislature. By this also the fundamental rights of citizens also can be protected. Students, do you think everybody has access to the courts? Clearly, all citizens of India can access the courts in this country. Every citizen has the right to justice through the courts. Though the courts are available to everyone, but it has been a very difficult procedure in reality to access the courts. Because the legal procedures involve a lot of money and paperwork, and they take up a lot of time. So for a poor person, it becomes very difficult to go to the court and get justice. In response to the problem of the people, in the early 1980s, the Supreme Court devised a mechanism of PIL, Public Interest Litigation. This PIL allows any individual or an organization to file a case in the High Court or the Supreme Court on behalf of those whose rights are being violated or who are unable to approach the court. The procedure was greatly simplified, and even a letter to the court from a person addressing to the Supreme Court or the High Court from any person could be treated as a PIL, Public Interest Litigation. Now, in the early years, public interest litigation was used to to get justice on a large number of issues. In a drought in Rajasthan and Orissa, millions of people faced an acute shortage of food in the year 2001. Meanwhile, the government godowns were full of grains. Often, this was eaten away by rats. In this situation, an organization called People's Union of Civil Liberties, PUCL, filed a PIL in the Supreme Court, stating that the fundamental right to life guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution also included right to food. The state gave an excuse that it did not have adequate funds, but that was shown wrong
because the godowns were overflowing with grains. The Supreme Court ruled that the state had the duty to provide food to all. Therefore, the court directed the government to provide more employment, to provide food at cheaper prices through the government ration shops, and to provide midday meals to children. It also appointed 2 food commissioners to report on the implementation of the government schemes.